When you log into ZipForms, you'll always be brought to this transactions room. And you can see it's highlighted up here in green. We've got your regular dashboard, forms. This shows you your forms library. And then transactions. And then there are templates over here. And usually the only room that you'll be working in is your transactions room. You can create your own templates. I will show you that at the end of the class if there's time. But otherwise we do just use the transactions that have already been created for you. So all right, so from this transactions room, you're going to hit new. And we'll practice using an offer to purchase. Rocky, come here. Come on. He's a Yorkie mix, so he's loud. Okay, so from here, you'll name your transaction. It's going to default to the location that you're in. Come here, please. Come here. I'm so sorry, you guys. I feel very unprofessional right now. I have to get this. 1 second.
Well, they're just like toddlers when mommy's
They
on
are.
the phone.
1 second, you guys. I gotta do something more permanent than what I just did. Come on. Come here. Okay. All right. So name your transaction folder. It will default to your office location. And then you're going to choose a category. So you're either going to pick residential or a condominium. Sorry, the three most common choices you'll have are vacant land, residential, or condominium. The agent should default to yourself as well. And then from here, you can apply a template based on what kind of transaction you're doing. So you will pick the global residential offer packet, excuse me. And then this will give you the most common used forms in an offer to purchase. So I'm going to highlight that. And this out of the way. And hit save. So now it's going to bring you right into your transaction folder. And it's going to default and bring you straight to the summary page. From here, I go straight to parties and I will add my buyers. So it's already has me added as a selling agent and broker. That gives you an option, but you do need to fill in your name here. And your KW email address. Hit save. Now I'm going to add my buyer. Going to show you what it looks like with two buyers. So what I'm filling in this information here, I'm just putting in bare bones information. I'm just putting name and email address. And this is just setting up for the e-signing process. Okay, so we got buyer 1, buyer 2, and then me as the selling buyer's broker, buyer's agent. So from here now, I'm going to go to the documents where all of our contracts are housed. So we've got the residential offer to purchase, the GMAR Addendum A, the buyer agency form, a disclosure to customers, and you'll use this form only if you are writing the offer as a seller's agent. So we put this in for you. I'm sure 9 times out of 10, you guys will be writing as buyer's agents. So you'll use that buyer agency agreement. But again, if you act as a seller's agent, you'll get this WRA disclosure to customers filled out and signed. Then we have just our notice to offer to purchase. You might use this after, you might need to use this in the transaction. So we've got one here for you. We have an amendment. Chances are good that you'll be doing an amendment. We have a counter offer form in case you need to use that. We've got our home warranty brochure. And then we have one here called the blank addendum, and I'm going to open this one up. So this is actually our addendum EC that you can use. This is the template for the addendum EC that you can use in case you use an escalation clause in your offers. I feel like we're seeing those less these days, which is good, but it's here for you. So you'll just plug in the dates and the purchase price and the incremental price where you see the X's. If you have questions about that, just see Joni or I on how and what you would probably properly plug in there if you have questions, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Another note about ZipForms. If you are in a contract and you need to get back to that main room, always use the green back button, or if you need to get back to the dashboard, always use the green back buttons within the platform. Do not use your browser back button because that will exit you out of the platform altogether. So just a tip. And that addendum EC, it's labeled as blank addendum. The ZipForms will not allow me to just rechange this. I wish I could just retitle this, but I can't. So just know that that's what that is. Then we've got a Capital Partners LLC disclosure for North Shore agents. It's called the Juniper Partners disclosure. This is our affiliated business disclosure. And there are also other notices and disclosures on here as well, but that's its main function. There's a wire fraud prevention notice here, an authorization and consent form to email and to call. There, for buyers especially, there's an inspection disclosure giving our recommendation for our recommendation as a firm for buyers to have a home warrant or a home inspection. So they don't have one as well. And then property information disclosure. And then a biggie, just another checkpoint for us to remind our clients that we are not attorneys. So if they need to seek legal advice, they would be seeking legal counsel. And then we have, we just added this recently, the buyer acknowledgement of risk when not having a home inspection. So if your buyer is not having a home inspection, we would love for them to, not love for them, we require for them to sign this in lieu of that, of having that inspection contingency. And when it comes to populating your opportunities, you will put this in the inspection report placeholder instead of that inspection report. So this is, again, if you're on the buy side and there's no inspection contingency, we want you to have your buyers sign this instead. Okay. So in practice, I kind of like to talk about how, at what points you're going to be coming to this. So in practice, if you're meeting a new buyer, you're going to have your buyer consultation. And the first two pieces of the first two items that you're going to have them sign right off the bat are generally going to be the buyer agency agreement. And then I always couple that with the affiliated business disclosure right away as well. All clients and customers have to sign this affiliated business disclosure. So I will have have the buyer client sign these two pieces right off the bat. So we'll open this up. This price range. Excluded properties. So we learned this last week in Joni's training. The reminder that we need to exclude any for sale by owner properties besides any that the buyer brings to us directly. Any FSBO, all FSBO, say properties, unless brought to the agent by buyer. That's a little clunky. Is that how you would word that, Joni?
Yeah, I mean, anything similar to that.
Okay.
It's just so you don't have to look daily for all for sale by owners.
Yeah. In here too, we have the commission already filled out for you. So 2.4% of the purchase price or as stated at MLS. Well, since I'm trying to keep this to a ZipForms training and not a contract training, I won't go through it in too much detail. So we've got this filled out. I'm going to hit save. So now let's say we're at that point. Again, we've just met the buyer client. We're going to have them sign the buyer agency form and the affiliated business disclosure first. So I'm going to show you guys the e-signing process. So from here back into your main transaction room, you can hit e-sign. And you're going to hit new. We're going to pick the contracts that we want them to sign at this point. So buyer agency agreement and the affiliated business disclosure. So I'm going to hit close. Then when you've got and you're adding multiple documents to be e-signed, just a note that from here you can put them in the order that you want. So I'll show you later when we fill out like an offer to purchase, for example. I'm very particular about how I want the offer to be received. So that's where I would just manipulate that order. At the top here, we've got the ability to change the e-signing packet name. So to keep myself organized, I'm always labeling this to the documents that I'm having signed. So instead of leaving it at that default. And that's as like signing packets come into play, you want to have them like explicitly labeled so that when you have to go back and retrieve a document, you can find it fast. Signing service. So now all of you guys should have been set up with Lindsay to get Docusign integrated into ZipForms. But if I hit this drop-down box, you've got two options here, the digital ink or the Docusign. It should default to Docusign. If it doesn't, and if it doesn't, then hit the Docusign option, and you might have to fill out some additional prompts. But it should all be set up for everybody. If it's not and you're confused, either see me or Lindsay. But again, you're always going to want it to default to this Docusign method. The digital ink is just the ZipForms signing version. And it's just not as user friendly. So that's why we like Docusign. Okay, so now I'm going to hit next, and this is going to bring me to my to choose which parties are going to be receiving this document. So my buyer 1, my buyer 2, and then me as the buyer's agent, I sign the buyer agency agreement as well. So I'm going to click myself. Now some of you will, when you get to this point, it might already have signing order flagged. I would unflag that. And that's because we want to make sure that the contract is being sent to everybody all at once. So it'll hit Joan as the buyer at the same time as it hits Stephanie as buyer 2, and it'll hit me in my email at the same time. If we kept it any other way, it would go to Joan first. She signs, then it would go to Stephanie, the buyer. And then once that person signs, then it would come to me to sign. And we, just for efficiency, we want to make sure that everybody is signing it at the same time. So just unflag that signing order. Okay, and I'll hit next. Okay, so now we've got our documents to sign, and I can scroll through these and you can see each page. Along the left-hand side, if you hit this this drop-down menu caret, this is where you can toggle between the different parties to the transaction. So in a minute, I'll show you guys setting up signatures on the affiliated business disclosure. So we'll go to Joan first, then we'll go to me as the buyer, and then me as the listing agent or buyer's agent. And then along the left-hand side, we've got our standard fields. So signature field, initial, date signed, I would say name, text, and the checkbox function are the ones that you're going to use the most. I don't think I've ever used any other function besides those. So if we scroll through, because I had already named those parties to the transaction, and I named them as buyer 1, buyer 2, and then the selling agent, the software knows to just drop their signatures in. So, which is a nice feature, but I also like to caution people to make sure that no fields have shown up where you don't want them to. And the biggest one that I can think of, the most clearest example, that I can think of is the amendment to offer to purchase. It will drop fields into like the rejected spot. It'll drop fields into the buyer signatures and seller signature spots. So it's just going to populate it to every single spot possible, and you need to delete where you don't want initials to show up or signatures to show up. And I can show you guys that in a second. So okay, we've got these fields populated. Looks all correct. They always kind of fall, these date signed boxes always kind of fall in the middle. I always like to move them over to the appropriate spot. So that's really the only thing that I'm doing there. Now we get into the capital partners disclosure. Oh, that's right. This does auto populate. So that's nice. So we've got Joan's buyer number 1 initials there, buyer number 2 initials there. Same thing. I'm just going to go through and check that everything is falling as where it should. And it is. So Just for the sake of training, I'm just going to show you. Move this over. So let's say I want to get rid of the signature field. I kind of have it highlighted. I pressed on it. Then a new set of functions pops up over here. So if I want to delete the signature field, for example, I could just hit delete. Same thing. You guys can see that I highlighted the date signed and then that right-hand menu popped over. Just hit delete. But since I did that in error, I'm going to add them back in. So I've already got it defaulted to Joan up here. I'm going to hit signature and then drag and drop it over. Date signed, drag and drop it over. Okay. Is there any questions at this point? Good. Okay. So I'm going to hit send. And Joan should have received a notification.
Got it.
Got it. Great. So Joan's going to sign it. I, as the buyer's agent, received it right here. So I'm going to pop into my email, review documents. Please read the electronic record and signature disclosure. And just so you guys know, this is exactly how it looks to your clients as well. So we're going to hit agree to the use of electronic records and signature. Then we're going to hit continue. Then along the left-hand side, there's a button to hit start. And then it's just going to bring your client right to the signature fields that they need to do. So again, in practice, when I'm going over a contract with a buyer, and this is kind of just another, like, I'm thankful for Zoom in this regard. I will just get on a Zoom with my clients now and I'll go through I'll explain the contract by sharing my screen like this. And then I will set up their signatures after I've like hung up with them. So once I've gone over everything, we've decided what terms they want to include in the offer, etc. Then, we'll hang up and then I'll finish adding their signatures without them, staring at me and then send it off. But I just find it so much easier now, instead of meeting somebody in person and going over an offer to purchase, or what I used to do before that, I would send them a PDF of something, we'd get on a conference call, and I would just have them open up the PDF if we couldn't meet in person. But now that Zoom is so readily adopted, I would just really suggest getting on a Zoom with your clients and sharing your screen and just going through it like this, and having the ability to scroll down, and it's just a lot easier. Okay, now I'm going to sign this as the buyer. I just want to show you what it looks like. When it's all complete. Okay. So now, as the list buyer's agent, I'm going to receive a email saying completed. So you can see the buyer agency agreement and the affiliated business disclosure are here for me, and these are signed versions of them. So all signatures are there. And then they're also going back to ZipForms. A folder has now been created, labeled buyer agency agreement, which is what I had titled it, changed it to earlier. Oops. And now my signed docs are here as well. So now, I'll let these hang out. Now we're gonna go show properties with our clients. We come to the point where we're gonna be writing an offer. So now we've got these here. What happened? So now we'll write an offer. Time is at 1:30. So let's say we are going to write an offer on my listing, because there's no offer yet and we need one. Just want to show you guys the process of adding the Addendum S and the real estate condition report. So buyers have identified what property they want to write an offer on. So then my next step always is to come to the listing information in MLS. I'll grab the documents. And again, just in my practice, and I think it's just generally good practice, besides the seller condition report and the lead-based paint addendum, which are required to be signed by the buyer, we also have seller updates, and I've got 2 other forms in here. I think it's good practice to just throw a set of initials on everything that is available to the buyer. And that's just one more step for you to show that you have presented it and shown it to the buyer. So I'm going to grab everything in here. So you noticed I clicked all documents. It's going to show up in one giant PDF for me. I'm going to save this as a PDF to my desktop. Now, depending on your computer, it's going to look differently on how you save it as a PDF. I have to kind of go through this print process. So I get to the spot where I can choose to save as a PDF.
We can only see your Flex MLS page.
Oh, shoot. I think it's because.
Probably because of what screen you're sharing or whatever.
Yep, that's 100% what it is.
Yeah, no worries though.
Okay. Okay, can you see the real estate condition report?
Yep, all good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so now again, the process of saving this as a PDF, it's going to look different depending on what your computer is. In order for me to save documents as a PDF, I have to kind of go through this print process, or starting as if I'm going to print it, in order to get to the save as a PDF screen or option. So I'm working on a Mac. No, of course it's being slow. happening? Okay, I'm gonna try one more time before I move on. Hmm. Shoot. Okay, well, for the sake of time, let's pretend that I saved it as a PDF on my desktop. And just to show you now that you can add a PDF into your transaction folder so that you can set up the client to sign it. So up at the top, it says add doc. You can browse for the document. I'm just having all sorts of issues here. Or I will drag and drop it. I'm gonna pick this one. So you can actually just pick it up from your desktop and drag it and drop it in there. Okay. And actually, I think I previously saved all of the documents that I need for this training. So lucky me that happened. Now I'm going to pick the offer. Let's say we're at the point where I've already filled out the offer. I've filled out the addendum A, and now I'm going to set it up for signing for the client. So again, we're going to go to e-sign. We're going to hit new. We're going to pick the offer, the GMAR addendum A, the home warranty application, and the lead-based paint addendum and real estate condition report that I pulled in from MLS. Hit close. So again, e-sign packet name. Now I'm going to change this to the address. And now I've gotten in the habit of labeling it as the address, the street address, plus offer to purchase versus just offer to purchase, because you might be writing more than one offer with these clients. So again, for the sake of keeping yourself organized, I would highly recommend adding that address so that you know which e-signature packet you have created. Okay, back to manipulating the order. So I generally like to have the home warranty application last, and then have those lead-based paint addendum and real estate condition report follow the GMAR addendum A and the offer to purchase. So now I'll hit next. And my people sign it. And then I'm going to choose myself again here because as buyer's agents, we sign the lead-based paint addendum. So again, signing order, I've left that off. And then we'll hit next. Okay, now this one will definitely be adding signature fields and initial fields. I don't think this automatically will populate. It shouldn't. It will on the offer as it did. So again, same deal. I'm going to move these dates signed fields over. The addendum A, the initials should default. Yep, there we go. Now again, I will have my people usually just initial. And that's again, I got into this habit. I just want to make sure that I have documented that I've shown and presented these things to the buyer. I've gotten into the habit now of placing the initials on the tax assessment, just so the buyer knows what it's currently assessed at. And that will usually follow suit after having the conversation of the potential for city assessments to go up, with these kind of crazy prices. You can't predict that it will, but you kind of want to give that caution that the city assessment might change next year if it's definitely a drastic change in purchase price between purchase price and city assessment. We want to document that the buyers have seen the list of improvements if they're available. So now we're going to get to the real estate condition report. What's the term I want? CYA, cover your butt, right? Signature. I'm going to toggle back to Joan. The lead-based paint addendum. Okay, so I want to show you guys this one for sure. Just because there's a new field that we're going to use here. So you've got the listing agent signature there. Then you as the buyer's agent are going to sign it as well. And then as I had discussed in a couple trainings earlier, one thing that is commonly missed are whether or not the buyer is electing to have a lead-based paint test or not. 9 times out of 10, they are waiving the opportunity for a lead-based paint inspection, but you do need to indicate that there on line 148. So how we do this is I'm usually adding this field from my own name from the selling agent field, and I'm hitting checkbox and dragging it and dropping it over here. And now along the right hand side, again, kind of a new set of menu options has popped up. What I'm going to do next is actually add that checkbox value in there. So you're going to go to checkbox value. You're going to hit the check mark there and hit read only. And now I've got that check mark there. And again, this is all under the assumption that I have had the conversation with my buyers on what they want to do here. So that's why I, as the buyer's agent, I'm just going to go ahead and add it myself. Now I'm going to add the buyer's signatures at the bottom. Okay. All right. There are other documents in here. I think I'm just gonna, actually, the home warranty. This is another thing that I've gone over. A lot of times people are forgetting to hit the accept or decline option. If your buyer is declining coverage for a home warranty, you need to have that indicated. And that is something that Kimmy and I will flag as we're reviewing opportunities. So kind of going back. Actually. Okay. So now I'm going to send this off. You're going to do one last check through, just double check your work. Go back up. Make sure everything's accounted for. And then you'll send it off. Joni, I will have you go through and sign it. And there's actually
Sure.
something I want to show you guys with this too. And this is just kind of like another good habit. So I'm going to go through and sign it as if, because I want to show you guys what it looks like, again, kind of in practice once you have all of these documents signed. Okay. All right, so now I've got the completed notification. So again, I've got all of the signed documents down here in my email, but, and this is kind of just a caution, like not good practice. Sometimes agents will get their signed documents from this email, and then they will just forward this whole thing onto the listing agent. And I just, sometimes you'll see in MLS private remarks, agents will say, please send offer as one PDF. And this is what they are referring back to. They want to receive offers all in one PDF. And listing agents will, and just, if you just think about it from receiving the offer, it's just easier to organize. And then when you open it on your phone as a listing agent, you can just scroll through that much easier. It's easier for a listing agent to forward it on to a seller all in one PDF as well. So that's what people are referring to when you see those notes. So you're going to go back to ZipForms to grab it. So we'll go back to documents. And now another signature folder has popped up. So got my buyer agency agreement over here, and I've got our offer to purchase over here. So now I'm going to make this one PDF. And I'm going to click in the upper left hand corner. And I'm going to check mark all of the contracts that I want to merge together, and I'm going to hit a save as PDF. So it's going to default to save in transaction and as single PDF file only, single PDF file, and you can leave it to that. And then here's another spot for you as well to manipulate the order if you want. So you can kind of see, I can drag and drop that down. It's in the order that I want already. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit save.
You know, I normally just send it in my zip form to the agent where they don't have to sign for it. So this way I still have documentation when they opened it.
Okay. I suppose that, I mean, you send it directly from here, or you send it from your
I send it directly from here as an e-sign, not requiring signatures, because I still have documentation noted when they opened it with the time stamp.
Got it. Okay, that's good practice. I mean, I'm usually attaching a message
Uh-huh.
in the body of my email. And so that's why I just kind of have just send it from my email. But either way would be fine, 100%. So I think it's just more, I just want to like really just emphasize that how much easier it is on the receiving end to receive it as one PDF. So
Right.
I would just love for people to get into that habit. Okay, so from here, I'm going to download the offer. I'm going to go back to my email. And from here, I am filling out like another summary page of all of the offer terms for the listing agent. So along with a note about the buyer, excited to work with you, etc. And then I will send it on. Did I attach the offer? I don't know that I did, but I forgot to attach the offer, but you guys get the point. Oh no, I did. There it is. So now you've sent it off to the listing agent and you are going to, you've got an accepted offer. Listing agent has sent it back to you all in one PDF. And now you need to upload it to Command for opportunity review, for compliance review. So now let's say you've got your accepted offer, you've downloaded it from your email, same deal. You can just drag and drop the accepted offer. Into your email. I'm sorry, into your transaction folder. I might go a little longer than 2, hopefully not, but okay, so we've got our accepted offer in the transaction room, and I'm gonna get there next, but from here, we're actually gonna split this document so that you can use those split documents to populate your opportunities. So we're gonna go to Command. You guys don't hear a barking dog, do you? Probably. Okay, so now we're in our main dashboard for Command. I'm going to create an opportunity to get this offer uploaded to the compliance broker. And you do that by making sure first that your contact is in, or your buyer client is already in your contacts. In order to create an opportunity, you must do it from, or you must have them in as a contact first. So I should already have. So buyer Stephanie Swinney is in there. So I'm going to, this is their main contact card. Along the left-hand side, you'll see is their contact information. Along the right-hand side, you can assign different tasks to them. So you've got your timeline, and then you've got your opportunities. From here, then I'm going to create the opportunity. It should default to your market center. Opportunity type is a buyer in this case. The owner should default to you. the client is here. You can add a co-buyer. I don't think I have Joan in here. If I had Joni in here, I would add her as a co-buyer. Opportunity name. Many of our agents are just leaving this to this default name, which is fine. Kind of again, for your organizational purposes, you can rename this if you want. I'm usually naming it the street name, the client type, so buyer. And then I'll put their last name in. Estimated close date. So this is important. I wish this was a starred field, because from my receiving end as the compliance broker who's reviewing these, we need to have this estimated close date in there because it helps to organize how Kimmy and I are reviewing these. So please don't forget to add the closing date. Commission rate, you're going to add what it is here, it's 2.4%. Opportunity phase, so this is starred. This is important as well. You need to take it out of cultivate and put it into active. And again, that is just helping Kimmy and I out, because if it's left in that cultivate stage, it will fall to the bottom of our list instead of bringing it to the top of our list to review. So definitely take it out of cultivate stage and put it in active. And then create. Now, it will fall to this menu over here. It'll create a clickable link for you. And now you're in your opportunity. So you've got your details page with that closing date. I know it says estimated closing date. You're actually going to put the close date because you will know what it is. Then you've got buyer profile, documents, offers, and commissions. You are going to be primarily working in the details page, the document page, and the offers and commissions. So I've got my, don't know what happened. I think something's happening with command. Shoot. Shoot. You might have to continue this. I think it's just a glitch in command, which happens every once in a while. Well, while we're waiting for that, I'm going to go back to ZipForms and show you guys the splitting of the documents. So again, oftentimes you're going to be receiving that accepted offer in its full package in one PDF document. In the opportunity, the way that the placeholders work, here we go. They are all split up. So now I'm back into the command opportunity. You're going to pick a checklist type along the left-hand side. Since this is a single family, we're going to hit residential buyer. And now along the left-hand side, you're populated with 2 or 3 more folders: consultation folder, under contract folder, and your closed folder. So working in the under contract folder, you can see that all of these are divided into individual placeholders. So when I say that we need to split up the document, we need to split the document so that we can drag and drop each individual contract or part of the offer into its individual placeholder. So we can't just drag and drop the entire offer to purchase package and put it into the offer to purchase placeholder. We need to divide all of this up. So back to your transaction folder. We're going to take our accepted offer. We're going to open this up. And we're going to split and rotate this whole thing. So this is the command, the function right here, split and rotate. It's going to bring up a separate box. So along the left-hand side is where you can add the splits. And then along the right-hand side, it shows you all of the contracts and they're along with, and most importantly, their page numbers. So add split. So this is the AO pages. So this is page 1 through, should be page through 10 pages. Okay. Now we got to get to the second split. So we're going to hit the addendum A. We're going to split that out. So add split. AO addendum A pages. And that's going to be pages 11 through 14. Now we're going to get to the data sheet. So add split, we're going to say AO data. So I'm going to grab this and the information. So pages 15, 16, and 17. 15 through 17. This is not something that I need to see as the compliance broker, but you know, you can add it into your e-file, your opportunity if you want. You only are splitting out one page, it's 18 to 18. Now we got the real estate condition report. (19 through 24). Then the lead-based paint addendum. (25, 26, 27). I'm putting the same, this is kind of just another like organizational tip. I'm putting the same kind of header in front of each of these. Again, just so I know that it's the accepted offer, completely executed version of these documents. Hit save. Thanks guys for bearing with me. So now you can see all of my completely executed documents have fallen to the bottom. And I know which versions of these I need to grab. And again, that's just like as things start piling up in here, you're going to want to keep that like a quick view to those things. So back to your opportunity. So now I'm just going to start populating these. I won't go through all of them, but so my data sheet, accepted offer data sheet. You're going to do just a lot of download and upload. So downloaded the data sheet. I'm going to drag and drop it into here. And now that's uploaded. Back to the transaction room, the offer pages, download and upload. I'll just do one more. The GMA or Addendum A is next. Offer pages, Addendum A pages. Download. And then because we want to encourage you guys to use this, you know, you've got your required placeholders here, but we do want to encourage you guys to use this as your e-file. So get in the habit of anything that you come across in your transaction to add it to the opportunity. So whenever I am creating a new opportunity, I'm adding a miscellaneous folder. And so those things that I don't necessarily need to have anybody review. So we'll go to that list of improvements. We'll put that in there. And then I've got that other like tax doc that I had my customers sign. I'm just going to throw those in this folder. You're going to hit add document. You're going to drag and drop the document that you want to save. So another good thing that you might find to put in here would be the pre-approval letter, or as you're negotiating the inspection, you might put in contractor estimates in here. You might put in lien waivers after work has been done. The title commitment you might put in here. So again, just get in that habit of saving. Oh, sorry, gosh. Of saving anything that's a part of the transaction in your opportunity. So I'm just gonna call this disclosure. And I'm gonna call this list of improvements. Hit add, and then it will save it here for you. Okay. Back to the under contract folder. So let's say we've finished populating all of these placeholders. Everything in red is required. Everything in yellow is optional. It may not be a part of the offer to purchase. Once it's loaded, you're going to hit then submit to MC. It's going to ask you a question. Are you sure you want to submit this for review? Yes, you do. And then now it's going to hit Kimmy and I to review it for you guys so that you get paid. I often get the question, do you want me to wait until I have everything before I submit it? No. So, you know, with it, you're supposed to submit it within the first 7 days of an accepted offer. It's probably likely that you don't have the inspection report yet, for example. Go ahead and submit this without the inspection report. And then when we're reviewing it, if we get to it in time, like if we hit it in time where we don't see that inspection report, we'll just say to you, load inspection report once you receive it. Or it might be submitted, we haven't looked at it yet, and you'll just come back in here, load the inspection report once you receive it, and then it will automatically resubmit to us. So always make sure that you are submitting these into within that 7 days after accepted offer. Okay. Any questions?
No, that
Very
was great.
helpful for
I learned
me.
something.
Good.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Alicia?
I said, thank you. I learned something. So that was very good.
Good, awesome. Okay, Tammy, Sai. You guys good?
No, I was just kind of curious, when we have an accepted offer, we put in as many documents as we can. What are you reviewing for? I mean, the deal's not closed yet. Just wondering.
We're reviewing for signatures. We're making sure that everything has been executed within that binding acceptance date. Looking at a big thing that we kind of went over a couple weeks ago, making sure that agency is indicated. We're reviewing contract language. If it's something that we think we need to talk, if there's a red flag that we think we need to talk to the agent about. What else are we reviewing for? Those waiver boxes, just kind of dotting I's and crossing T's and making sure it's clean.
Okay, so if you find something, what's the protocol?
Then I can communicate with you guys through command. So I can show you, well, you'll see how it looks, but I can add a note to the contract folder, and then you are notified when you receive a note, and that will give further instruction on what's missing or
Okay.
what's needed. Yeah.
So, I've heard this before, that mistakes will happen. And there's nothing that can't be undone or corrected.
Totally.
So even at this phase, when we've had people sign, we have an accepted offer, everyone's going through the motions of getting to close. If there's something in the contract of the offer to purchase, and it's binding acceptance, right? So is there a way, if there's like a contingency that wasn't checked, or some other thing that you've noticed that would have really impacted this this whole deal, is there a way to really correct that at this point?
Yeah, well, usually I mean, when it comes down to like inspection repair amendments or something, usually we're kind of getting ahead of those before it would hit the opportunity. Meaning, if you've come up on a deadline and a deadline passed, we were probably hearing about it before an amendment is executed. But there are often times where kind of those like smaller changes, like I think the most recent example I have is somebody added a buyer. It was like just a solo buyer. They added a second buyer, and it was executed outside of the binding acceptance date. So I had to go back to the agent and say, we need to strike the binding acceptance date and have all parties' initials. And it's really, it's for mundane stuff like that, but that's why they're
Okay.
That's why they're there.
Okay.
So
That makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, the big picture is why they're there is the insurance that covers our errors and omissions. Want to make sure that our offers are completed. And if the insurance company is reviewing say a lawsuit situation, and they see that it is not a complete file, they can deny the insurance coverage on it.
Okay.
So that's the big picture.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, tomorrow in team meeting, I'm going to talk about the relationship of the amendment and the notice of defect after an inspection report. So